Thank you for joining our Q&A. We're so excited to have you here. I brought with me Dr. Tyler Susko, my co-founder and the inventor of the Cadence original sneaker. Tyler, let you say a couple of words to our community here.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We do these things about once a quarter just to take questions from people that are in our community and just to give you a little bit more information when you need it.
Awesome. So for housekeeping, like I said, this session is being recorded. Your videos, if they're on, won't show in the recording. It's just the two of us who are pinned to the screen here. So you don't have to worry about that. We have the chat open here. You can type in your questions if you haven't previously submitted them. And our team, Wendy and Dana, are going to respond to them or we'll grab them and respond online and live to them. So before we hop into our Q&A, I have a couple of announcements to make, and one is directly answering a question from Andrew and Vicky over in the UK. We've been asked this many times before when we start shipping in the UK, and I'm excited to announce today that we'll finally be launching in the UK in the middle of October. We'll be launching our original sneaker and the brand new product that we're going to be unveiling in this session as well. So I realize it's very late over in the UK, but if you happen to listen to this, or if you're listening to the recording, so mid-October will be our launch date. And if you want to be part of the notification list and get early access, you can email us to support@cadence.co.uk. The other announcement that I want to make is that we'll have a big restock happening at the end of next week. And if you have been following along of our journey, we launched in September of 2023, so we're almost 2 years old now.
24. I'm sorry. September 2023 is when we launched. Yeah, shipped in 2024. Got it.
Correct. So those of you who have been part of the journey with us, we have started with very small, and we've been expanding, and we've been growing so fast, and sometimes our growth outpaces what we are able to deliver. And so we appreciate your patience. So again, next week, we'll have a big restock of our original sneaker in the United States, and also our much loved Pink Colorway is coming back. So make sure you put in your pre-orders now, and they will be shipping out on October 6th. So we'll keep you posted on all of that. Then I want to give you guys a quick reminder of our coaches program. So should you be working with a physical therapist or a medical professional, do share our coaches program with them. The coaches program is a real great resource for any sort of medical professional. They get lots of perks in terms of clinical data or studies. They can enroll into beta trials of new products with us. It's all around just really helpful for them to understand how our product works. And we'll drop in a link into the chat here in a moment, just where that you can share with them. Before we jump into our actual questions and answers, I wanted to introduce to you our next product launch that we are planning and that we're going to be doing in October as well. So you, our community, have been so generous with your feedback to us. Last year, I think, based on consumer feedback and community feedback, we've made an all-black sneaker. And then people were like, oh, it's kind of hot where I live in summer. I wish there was a sandal. And so we responded with our area sandal earlier this year. And now that we're going into the colder winter months, what we are going to be launching is our Havena Slipper. It's going to launch here in the middle of October as well. It's going to be available in the United States, in Canada, and in the UK. It's going to come out in two beautiful colorways, chestnut and sand, sand being on the left, chestnut on the right. We're super excited for it to get to you. We just think while it's designed for indoors, it also can be taken outdoors. It has our signature technology baked in and built in. So we're super excited about it. And we hope that you will love the Havena Slipper just as much as you love your sneakers and your sandals. So that's all of the announcements out of the way. And last thing before we hop into the Q&A, for all of the newcomers, Tyler, can you quickly explain the unique feature of our sneaker for anyone
Yeah.
that's new, what it's about and who it is for.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you don't already know, our sneakers all have what we call variable friction technology built in. So what this allows you to do is allows you to bring out a flat surface here. It allows you to glide along the surface in the event that you accidentally come in contact with the floor. But as soon as you put pressure on the shoe, when you're standing or trying to push off, there's a soft compliant foam right here in the side of all of our shoes. And that includes the Aereo and the Havena that Johannes just talked about. That soft foam allows you to compress the low friction surface into the shoe so that you get exposure to the high friction surface. So this was developed in my lab at UC Santa Barbara. We started with robots. The robots were getting rid of the floor completely when people were advancing their foot forward during the swing phase of gait when you're trying to move that foot forward. But we found that we could do just about the same thing with no robot if we could have a surface that changed from low friction to high friction based on the amount of weight that you put on the device. So that's a little
Awesome.
bit of an intro.
Thank you for that. I just saw a question pop into chat here from Janie, and also some others that were asking about, and I think this relates to what the shoe actually delivers. So Janie's asking about finding that her tendons get sore after walking into the shoes. Can you talk to that a little bit as to how the shoes can potentially impact the gait pattern of someone and how that could potentially result in soreness?
In soreness, absolutely. So anytime you get a new piece of workout equipment, if you're familiar with going to the gym or doing anything that's new, you're likely going to be recruiting different muscles in different ways. So what we've seen in my lab on our very first test with this type of technology is that people change their walking patterns very quickly when they use this new type of technology. About 60% of the people, 60 to 70% of the people will adapt their gait to the new constraint that you have on your foot, which is you can move a little bit more straight rather than coming out to the side. You can engage new muscles. Some people might have hip flexors as you bring that hip more forward, that they're engaging, not because they used to be doing maybe a circumduction type gait. Now they're pulling it more forward. We've seen increased knee involvement or knee flexion as people walk in these shoes versus other shoes. So you could get some soreness and maybe some maybe hamstring muscles or tendons in that way. And then also the foot is making contact with the ground. It's coming down at a different angle and you're using it in a different way. So soreness can happen just as if you were doing any new activity. The other thing that I think soreness might stem from is the increase in usage. So we found that the shoes have helped a lot of people with their mobility and getting out and actually moving. So if you're spending more time on your feet than you used to, which is a good thing, you're out, you're moving, you're getting out about your own day, you're going to have a little bit more fatigue in that muscle. So soreness could then start to build that way. The good news is this is all physical. So meaning the muscles are going to respond. You're going to start to get stronger in those muscles. And I don't expect that to last. If it starts lasting a long time, I would recommend talking to a physical therapist about it or a doctor.
Awesome. Would you then recommend if somebody experiences soreness to back off a little bit and
Yeah,
just
absolutely. Back off
pace?
a little bit until you feel comfortable. So if you're somebody that maybe your mobility hasn't been exercised regularly in the past, going from 0 to 100% is going to slow you down. So you want to just start slowly, do what you can, and start building up. One of the things that most people don't know about our shoes is when we were developing these, it was really with the idea of physical therapy in mind, so that it was a tool to walk more to improve gait over a longer period of time. That differs from an assistive device, which is something that you put on at times to make you walk faster. We found in our previous studies that does happen quickly. People will acclimate quickly. They'll walk faster in the shoes in some cases, very, very quickly. But really, if you use this as a rehabilitation tool and you just keep working on it, like any other exercise device, we find that there's some significant benefits there for some people.
Awesome. Thank you for explaining that. So I'm jumping into one of the questions previously submitted from Cathy. So she writes, how can I train? I'm sorry, I'm looking over here. That's my notes. How can I train my brain muscles to walk heel toe with these shoes? I've been wearing Cadence since last March and love the freedom of walking on my own, but still have balance issues with foot drop, along with circumduction or hip hike to a small degree when I walk. Now I have a lot, now I have a lot of calf and ankle tightness. Please advise what I'm doing wrong while wearing these shoes.
Yeah, so I think this goes back to the idea that if your goal is physical therapy, and what I mean by that, when I think about physical therapists will work with you, especially if they're neurological physical therapists, and if we're talking about something like a stroke, they're working with you to recover function that was lost due to a neurological injury. So working with a physical therapist that understands gait patterns and how you walk, I think somebody like that could give you a program so that you could eventually get to the heel toe walking. And we just published a course for professionals. So if you have a physical therapist, you're working with them and you're like, hey, you want to take this course and understand how to use the Cadence shoes in a physical therapy program to build that heel toe walking. I would highly recommend that you do that and work with a physical therapist to tailor a program specifically to you. So in that course that we've developed for physical therapists specifically, there's a 7-step process that we go through. First getting the shoes on, feeling comfortable in the variable friction, then starting to do force scuffs. That's the next step where you kind of are sliding on both feet. Then we're going to start working on step symmetry, step rhythmicity, and we're going to try to then push the speed on a treadmill. The last step in that is trying to get that heel toe walking down. But this can be a long process for people as they're walking to recover. And in doing that, you can use the variable friction shoes, the Cadence shoes, to help you feel comfortable as you're starting to increase that walking speed, so that if you inadvertently come in contact with the ground, you're not going to just catch, right? So we're trying to build that speed up, and then we're starting to really try to focus on that heel toe walking. There's a lot of literature out there, and I'm a firm believer in the role of rhythmicity in walking. Putting some rhythmicity in your walking and thinking about your walking as a rhythmic behavior rather than a series of individual steps, I think will go a long way as you start to train, especially if your goal is heel toe.
Awesome. This question from Dr. Jennifer segues kind of nicely into the biofeedback you just mentioned. She asks, will they ever work to make noise on carpet? As that is why they're working for my patients as I'm a PT.
Yeah. So
I'm not sure what her particular setting there is, but I'll let you take this one.
So let me kind of just speak to this so that everybody on the call understands what she's talking about. So the shoes have this low friction element on the bottom, and intentionally we made this a material that will make a sound if it contacts the ground. The reason why we did that on hard surfaces, I should clarify. The reason why we did that is so that when you're on a hard surface, you can train and you will get information back from the shoe. So if you accidentally scuff the floor while you're walking and you're on a hard surface, you'll hear a little scuffing sound to it. If you foot slap on the ground, you're going to hear that on the toe pucks. It's going to tell you. But if you do achieve heel toe, it'll be mostly silent. This has been a useful feature in physical therapy as people are walking, because as we generate this kind of rhythmicity in our gait again, if we're continuously scuffing on the foot intentionally, we'll be able to kind of, I call it like making a beat with your feet. You kind of just go and you scuff along and everything is coming at a rhythmic type of a pattern. So that has been a really useful tool for some people, just as an assistive device, but also if they're using it with their physical therapist to try to improve their gait speed. So on carpet, you don't hear it as much. And that's because it would be hard to make a sound on carpet, no matter what we put on top of it, unless we put some bells or something on the shoe. And maybe that's an idea. Something else that's going to be a sound maker. It's going to be hard because we rely on these pucks themselves to make the sound as it comes in contact with a hard floor. So right now we don't have any plans to have them make noises on carpets. We do recommend for physical therapy that you're using a hard surface so that you get that feedback back to you as you're walking. But on carpet, it'll be completely silent.
Gotcha. I just saw this over in chat from Susan. She's saying the Velcro tie is great.
Mhm.
The slick bottom on wood or tile
Mhm.
floors is too scary. When I get up to
Mhm.
start walking, feels like they'll slip
Yeah.
out from under me.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I think
so,
this is something that is common to some of our
yes.
community members, but we have
Yes.
solutions for that. Can you explain?
Absolutely. So, one of the things that we found very early on, and this is going all the way back to our first studies when we started just cutting holes in other shoes and putting in little variable friction elements, we found on that very first study that 3 out of the 5 people just walked faster. The biomechanics changed. They trusted the shoe. 2 out of 5 did not. And their gait speed did not change. They were hesitant with it. And for them, that study was just one and done. That was, they didn't change. If I flash forward to our next study that we did a beta test with a number of individuals that wore the shoes up to 6 months, and I would reach out to them. We'd talk once a week or once a month after that. And the absolute best performer in the shoes was someone that was terrified to start. So, and this makes sense, and I'll kind of explain this and qualify it. So, if you've ever been on a low friction surface before, like an ice rink, you go to an ice rink and you step on the ice. That is a very unnerving feeling because the ice is going to be low friction and we're going to slip and fall on our butts, right? Um, and these shoes have a low friction surface until you put the weight on them. As soon as you put the weight on it, you get your traction back. And that feeling of low friction, though, a lot of times can bring up a feeling of having concerns with your safety. Oh my gosh, I'm going to fall on these. So we found that about 30% of people that get our shoes have this feeling when they start. And going back to the beta test and what I've seen, the person that improved most, he ended up walking after 6 months. He was walking twice as fast without wearing our shoes and 3 times as fast wearing our shoes. And this was because he kind of got over the hump after a week. When he started, he didn't walk any faster. He was scared about it. He was taking his time. Every step was very slow and robotic. The thing that got him over the hump specifically was thinking about the shoe as a rhythmic dance rather than individual steps, like we said before. But we also have some tutorials that we send now once you first get the shoes. Those tutorials are this getting started series. One of the exercises we like to do is called testing the water. So it's just like you're dipping your foot into a swimming pool. When you test the water, you kind of take your toe and you just start to feel it and then apply weight to the shoe. So move the foot around, apply weight, move the shoe around, apply weight. This would, in any new surface. So you get onto that hardwood, you get onto the linoleum flooring, marble flooring, all these types of things. I would recommend doing this just to give yourself the sense of security that, hey, as soon as I put weight on the shoe, it's going to grab. So I think those are the 2 techniques I would recommend. Test the waters on new surfaces, and then really start to think about your walking as a rhythmic dance. As we're moving foot step to step, you can start sliding with them, start to trust the feature. But sometimes this can take up to a month for people to really trust it.
Awesome. Thank you for explaining that. Steve and Eugene have similar questions, so I'll package them up.
Mm-hmm.
During my walking stride, my toe drags along the floor and the front of my
Mm-hmm.
right shoes wear out quickly. And then that was Steve. And then Eugene says he loves his Cadence shoes. When I stretch my walker, my left toe leg with nerve damage gets caught in the carpet. Is there any way to add the slippery material that fits on the front of the sole to the outside toe rim area of the sneaker that might help that situation?
Yeah.
So, and then to add on, Steve asks, if I purchase a pair of Cadence shoes, will the right shoe wear out quickly and before the left, like other part of the
I'm
shoes?
getting lost. This is a lot. I'm sorry. Where is this in the
So,
chat?
no, it was
Oh, okay. Okay. It
so
was a
basically
pre-question. Okay. All
we're
right. Gotcha.
talking about
We're talking about the
the
tip and
tip
wearing of
and
those
generally
sliders. Got
general
it.
wear of the
Got it.
shoe.
Got it. Okay. All right. Yeah. So there is an option now. We just came out with it. Johannes, what would you say? Like 3 months ago?
That sounds about right. Yeah.
So it's called the Toe Assist Kit. If you look at our website, we have this. It's a $20 accessory that you can grab if you want to remove friction all the way to the tip of the shoe. Um, the reason that our shoes are not built with that to start is because if you have a gait where you still have the ability to push off on toe off as you're going for that next step, if we put low friction up at the tip, you could slide out. So we don't want to do that for our standard shoe. The current shoe, the way that it's designed is it will stay in this low friction mode up to 50 degrees or a little bit above 50 degrees from the horizontal before you start to stick on the high friction tip by design. The toe assist kit will extend that so that it does not stick ever until you put weight on it in a more horizontal position. So this is particularly useful for two cases. One case is, as Johannes mentioned, for wear. If you're somebody that has a real heavy toe drag and you find that you're wearing out the very tips of the pucks because this is where you drag, the toe assist kit comes down and it allows the shoe to share the force between these side pucks and then a center puck. So we found that this is really beneficial for extending the life of the front of the tips for people that really toe drag. You just have to know that that friction will not come back on the tip. It'll come back underneath the foot, but on the tip, you can't push real hard or else you're going to slide out when putting the toe assist kit on. The other, I guess, use case for the toe assist kit is when somebody has that very steep toe drop. And this is typical of what we see with pretty advanced neuro conditions, in which the shoe is tilting forward at more than 55 degrees. That's not the most common thing that we see. But for example, people that have complete spinal cord injury will typically have a very limp ankle. In that case, the toe assist kit makes a lot of sense. So I would use it for that point. And I saw that Ro just put it in the chat too, if people wanted to click on that and see what it is.
Awesome. Can you
Did I
speak
answer
a
your
little
question?
bit? Yes, you did. Can you also talk a little bit about durability of our shoe? Because we just finished
Yeah.
up some data collection about durability of the shoe in
Yes.
general.
Yeah. So we had just at UC Santa Barbara, we were funded by the National Institutes of Health to do a 4-year clinical trial and what we called a characterization of the shoe. The clinical trial is ongoing at Shirley Ryan Ability Lab, which is a big stroke hospital in Chicago. And the characterization is going on at our lab at UC Santa Barbara. As part of this characterization, what we did is we built a series of machines that we could simulate real walking conditions with the shoes. One of those machines was it's 2 pieces of concrete that rotate and scrape the bottom of the shoes, and they start to wear it away. So we did that with this shoe, a pair of premium running shoes that have rubber bottom, a pair of foam bottom shoes, and a pair of leather shoes. And we counted how many cycles would it take to, it's like how many licks does it take to get the center of a Tootsie Pop? It was how many scuff contacts does it take to get through different materials. So we found that the high performance running shoe was about 300,000 scuffs. We found that the foam bottom shoe, I believe it was about 60,000 scuffs. The Cadense shoe and the leather bottom dress shoe both made it beyond 1 million. And those scuffs were all at 15 pounds. Now, I would say, Johannes, we're probably at how many pairs? 30,000, 28,000 yes. Pairs out in the world. The number that there have been people that were able to destroy these shoes within a few months. And so that's certainly not 1 million scuffs, but I think that there's two factors that lead to the degradation of the shoes. One is the amount of pressure you're putting on the shoe as you slide it. So I could imagine we were scuffing it with 15 pounds, which is probably the average scuff. But if somebody has an advanced condition where they're putting a lot of weight maybe on the side of the shoe and tilting that shoe out so they're not really getting the variable friction, they're just really pushing down as they're sliding the foot, you can imagine that going above 15 pounds in that case. And so the amount of pressure you're putting on it, the amount of weight you're putting on it while you're sliding it is going to have an impact on how quickly it's degrading. The other variable here is the surface on which we're sliding on. So if you're taking this and you're a heavy scuffer and you're taking it on asphalt or something like that, then we can see, concrete, asphalt, something like that. We could see an increased rate of wear. So we did the studies just to see where we were compared to the rubber bottom sneakers and typical sneakers that we see out there. And it was pretty favorable.
Awesome. Donald asks, I have a movement disorder, cerebellar ataxia, that affects my balance and my walking stability. I have no proprioception. I have a very difficult time walking on uneven surfaces.
Mhm.
I'm unsure how your shoes can help me, which you'll be speaking to in a moment. He's saying the shoes are too expensive to buy and then find out they don't work for me. I can address that. So, Donald, we do have a 30-day trial for you to make sure that the shoes do work. So you don't have to worry about that portion of it. But Tyler, can you speak a little bit about his particular question if the shoes are potentially going to work for him or not?
Yeah. So for proprioception problems, this is a common thing that we see with a lot of people for a lot of different conditions that wear our shoes. So if you don't know what he's speaking about with proprioception, it's the inability to understand where his limb is in space, and sometimes the loss of sensation. So maybe the loss of feeling that you're on your foot. And so the one gentleman that I was referencing when we talked about the beta test, he had a loss of proprioception in his foot. He didn't know where it was. So when I finished testing this, and this was in 2022, so about 3-4 years ago, we were running these tests. He told me the best thing about these shoes is that they make a noise and I can hear them. So I know where my foot is. So for him, he was using that sliding feature, and the scuffing sound is something that he could rely on. That would tell him, and he's like, now I'm upset that shoes that don't make the sound. So I noticed in the chat someone had wrote, isn't it annoying? If you're walking heel toe, you won't really hear it. I wear them all the time. I wear them at the airport where nobody notices I'm any type of different footwear than anybody else. If you're slapping the ground, you'll hear it and it'll tell you you're slapping the ground. If you're scuffing, you're going to hear that scuff sound. I don't find it annoying. And I think over time, you might think initially, oh, this is weird, but over time, I don't think it matters to too many people.
My dress shoes have like a wooden heel,
Yeah.
and they make a noise too.
Yeah.
And I think
it's similar to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, cool. Let's talk AFOs for a moment. So, a couple of questions in there. Can you quickly elaborate how an AFO works with our current shoe? And then somebody discovered or has heard that we are working on something specific. So
yeah,
Jim is writing here. My understanding is that you have been developing a shoe wide enough to accommodate an AFO. What is the status of that project? And do you need any test clients to participate in your development or release cycles? I currently wear a New Balance 4E, which can fit the toe cap of my AFO. All right.
Very good. Okay.
The stage is yours to talk about AFOs
this has
currently
been a really exciting area. Yeah. So once we went to market here, we heard a lot of people asking about the AFO, so much so that we started a whole new program to develop a shoe from the ground up for AFO users. So in case you don't know what we're talking about, an AFO, I'm not going to spoil the surprise here. An AFO looks something like this in some cases. It's an ankle foot orthosis. It's a brace that's custom molded typically to somebody's foot if they have foot drop. The AFOs come in different varieties. They're like, this is a plastic molded one. There's carbon fiber, different materials. There's some that have hinges in it. And really they're made to prevent people from the foot dropping as they're walking. So this is what an AFO is. Initially, our answer to will the shoe work with an AFO was if you could fit your AFO into a normal regular or a wide size, then yes, it'll work like any other pair of shoes. But that wasn't good enough to address the concern here of, well, they make the area is really, really wide And it's hard to get your foot into something if you have a 90-degree angle. It's not like putting a shoe on if you don't have one of these. It's very difficult. So we started on it. We talked to a ton of people. We probably worked on this for about 2.5 years. And we finally have just finished the development on our AFO-specific shoe. So this is going to be a little bit different than the original. It still has the variable friction technology on the bottom. Um, it's going to come in 3 different widths. We're going to have it in E, 3E, and 6E. We're kind of splitting the difference there on the widths that you can use. But the real magic here is that the whole thing flaps open, and it's as easy to fasten just like a normal shoe with the strap, but the whole top comes off. This makes it really easy to get that AFO inside. So here's an AFO. Normally shoving this into a shoe is quite challenging, but here you can just pop it in, fits real nice. The whole flap comes over, and then it just boom, boom, and you're done. And it can come off as easy as it goes on. We have the finger loops that not everybody knows about, but these loops are made for a single finger doffing or getting it off. So you can do single finger there, single finger here, and then your whole foot is out. So this product will come out early next year. We just finished up the design on it. We did run a beta test on this. So I followed 12 individuals with these shoes, both men and women in different sizes for a period of time, total 6 months in total. We were doing beta tests, found really good results with it, especially, just it had, I would say, even a more positive response than we even found with our originals, which was awesome. So that's what we do to test things before they go to market, because we don't want to send anything to the masses that's not ready to go. So we've tested it. It's ready to go. Got good marks from all the testers. So that's a go.
Awesome. On that note, what we will do with this product, so you're used to seeing pre-order options from us, because this is going to launch in Q1 of next year. We will allow you to sign on for an early notification as to when it becomes available for pre-order. And we encourage you to actually do that so we can gauge your interest in which sizes and widths what you want to see. So that will come out in the next 4 weeks or so. So be on the watch out for that. Gabby is asking if there's any concern with the pucks on the pedal while driving. Answer that question for me, please.
Yeah, sure. So I do drive with the shoes, and we tested that ourselves. I think everybody in our little company drives with the shoes to make sure that we feel okay with it. The answer to this is to test this before you go out. So before you turn the car on, make sure you feel comfortable grabbing the gas pedal and the brake pedal with the shoes. There's a low friction surface on the shoe. The thing is, when I use this, when I put it on the pedal, my foot naturally just rotates a little bit on the pedal, and I get exposure to the high friction stuff. One of the things that we always say is do not drive in these shoes if you wear this with an AFO, because with an AFO, your ankle won't be able to rotate. And so now you're going to be stuck on just the low friction surface and not getting exposure to the rubber stuff. So the first step, I would say, when you get this pair of shoes, you have to realize that this is a different walking experience completely. It's a different wearing experience. So you're going to get used to all these things as you go. But I would say don't turn the car on, get in, and make sure you feel comfortable with the gas pedal and with the brake pedal, and trust that out. Make sure it's okay before you venture out.
Awesome. Linda from Ottawa in Canada is asking, and she's saying, I love my Cadence shoes, which we love to hear. It would be great if the laces really work so that you could make the shoe tighter around your foot. Mm-hmm. It would help in promoting stability. Is that being considered? Yes. However, my experience walking the shoes has been terrific. In the past, walking through airports and other areas with multiple services, I've stumbled and even fallen. Traveled this week extensively and not one incident. Linda, we love hearing this, of course. Tyler, speak a little bit about laces.
Yeah. So I'll talk a little bit about why we chose the elastic laces, and then I'll tell you about a resource that we have for you to change this. So We went to market with the elastic laces because we really were focused on single finger operation. We wanted to make sure that it was very easy but still secure. We didn't want to have people fuddling with the laces up here, and because it looks really nice and clean. That being said, we've had this concern. People have voiced this, and anytime people tell us something, we generally try to solve it. So what we did, we were going to come out with our own lacing kit, but we found there's a lot of good ones out there already. So there was no need to reinvent the wheel. So what we did instead is we bought all the lacing solutions you could on Amazon and we tested them all. And then we picked the best three and we made a video for you that maybe somebody will post in the chat here that you can have a look at. And that allows you to exchange out the elastic laces for something else. So we had one of our team members put together this video for you on how to do it. And you can watch his video and see the positives and negatives of 3 different lacing options that he has considered for you.
Awesome. Deborah is asking, the shoes have support all around your foot. How do the sandals give you the same support?
Yeah, so interesting thing about the sandals is this is the exact same sole as the sneaker. So you're going to get the same benefit with just a different upper. Of course, when you're in a standard shoe, your foot is enveloped or completely surrounded by the shoe itself. And here you're not going to have that. The good news with this is everything is fully adjustable on here by design for our users because we know you want it to fit real nice and snug. So this whole thing has a huge Velcro patch on it. That huge Velcro patch allows just for a huge amount of adjustability. So if you have a wider foot, you can make this wider. If you have a thinner foot, you can make this tighter. And all of those settings, it's going to adapt to your foot, which is really nice. The same thing goes for the back strap too. The back strap's really quite interesting because we made it so that you can remove it and then exchange it the other direction. So not only can you make it bigger and smaller, but you could take it off completely and flip it around if you are a person that likes to fasten it from the other side. You could also take this completely off and use it as a slide. I don't recommend that for most of our users. We have this there for a reason of keeping you into that shoe. But if you're just somebody that wants a little slip on, it is there for you.
Awesome. And I just wanted to call out our new Havena Slipper has the same feature. So you can customize the fit in the front. The back strap is also customizable. And oops, let me see if I can pull this up. So yeah, so you can see here, there's another Velcro adjustment back here. This too is removable, but like Tyler said, we assume that most of you will be using the back strap while wearing the slipper or the sandal.
Yeah, and just a shout out on that too. I like the idea of keeping these shoes as snug as comfortable. You don't want to be cutting off blood flow because you're clamping them down so much, but it's good to be really rooted into that shoe. And that's why with the Havena shoes, we went back and forth. I remember Johannes on all the different designs we considered. And we kept the adjustability to make sure, especially because it's a soft upper feel on your shoe, like a slipper should be. We wanted to make sure you could really get that down so that you still are anchored into that shoe.
Awesome. And I want to give a shout out to Chris Kitchen, who is representing Cadence in Toronto, Canada. And if you are in the Toronto area, and call up Chris Kitchen, he's very familiar with our footwear and can show you what it's all about, answer your questions. So just wanted to give a quick shout out here. Let me see here. What do I have? Jake is asking, will you have half sizes in the sandals? I ordered a size 10, and when I got them, they were too big. And then you exchanged them for a size 9, but my toe extends to the front edge. So currently we don't have plans to make half sizes because we feel like that's a more generous fit anyway, and you have those adjustments that we just mentioned. But we'll take this back, and of course, if there's more demand from our community, we'll let you know. And we always roll out new programs and new sizes, so just bear with us there. So I don't see who asked this, but I'm very nervous as my balance is very bad and my right leg is very, very weak. So I depend on stability of the left leg to support me. when I try the shoes, I worry about falling more so than ever because now the left foot slides.
Mm.
Right leg rolls inward and also out. Fractured foot last year. I also suffer from foot drop. So I guess the question here is, what do you do if you have an affected side and an unaffected side, and you rely on the unaffected side for
Mm.
stability?
Mm. Yeah, so I think this goes back to what we had originally said with testing the waters in different situations for different surfaces. If you feel like you're unstable now because the unaffected side is now on this lower friction surface, the only option that you have to walk in the shoes is to now start to train yourself to get that feeling that, you know what, it's going to grab when I put weight on it. The transition weight to go from the completely low friction surface to one in which you're starting to get the traction from the rubber depends on the size. For example, for the women's smaller sizes, like let's say a women's 6 or something like that, the transition weight to go from low friction to starting to get grabbing on that rubber is somewhere around 15 pounds. It depends on the surface, and it goes plus or minus a few pounds on that. But as we get up in higher sizes, like say the men's 14 or something, that transition force is probably somewhere around about 25 pounds. But I'd imagine that somebody that wears a men's 14 shoe, it's probably more than 100 pounds. So when you put that weight on the unaffected side, you're going to grab. The coefficient of friction when the shoe is weighted with like half of your body weight, for example, is going to be somewhere near or above a normal athletic shoe that's made out of foam. So we've done that testing. And depending on the surface, you will have a higher coefficient of friction with the shoe. For example, on carpet, I know as soon as you get about 40 pounds on that shoe, the coefficient of friction is actually higher than a foam bottom shoe.
Got it. Thank you. Deborah is asking, your shoes are very interesting. However, although you discuss how they ease walking, at no time do you mention ankle support.
Yeah.
I currently wear a well-known brand of walking shoes that have a stability bar as well as excellent ankle support. Do your shoes have firm ankle support? For me, this is essential. Otherwise, my ankle rolls.
Yeah, good question. So no, so our shoes are made to be like an athletic shoe. So we do not have ankle support beyond that. There are a couple solutions that people have used. For example, in our clinical trial, one user early on used our shoe with what's called an air cast, which is kind of like a brace that you can use. These are available on Amazon. So you can add external bracing elements with the shoe. We are in development of something that's going to be a long development. All of our development processes are long, but it's going to be long. We're at the very start of something that we're looking into adding ankle stability into the general concept without having to wear an AFO. But that's really in its infancy at this point.
Awesome. And at this point, I want to again give all of you a big shout out for sending us feedback whenever you have something and you wish that a company would finally listen. We do listen. Send it to our support team. They do let the two of us know of your requests, and we carefully listen, evaluate it, and then we're working really hard to make sure that we put out products that are really helping you. So any sort of feedback you have, we take seriously and send it over. So,
and as a designer, I'd like to just also add to that. It is awesome when people tell you what to make because I don't have to figure out what to make. So people tell me, and we just go to work. And if enough people say it, then we're like, this is probably a good idea. And then we put it into our process, which is that 2 to 3 year process of trying to understand. And then we prototype and evaluate, and then we start to go down the beta test route again. And then that's how we get products out.
awesome. Christina has been asking, how would you determine the size of the shoe with your AFO? So I think we'll provide some resources on when we launch the AFO dedicated shoe, but speak to currently and then going forward with the AFO shoe product.
Yeah. So currently what we say is you have a shoe that you're wearing probably now with an AFO. If your AFO fits into a regular or a wide size, that's what we have to offer. Once we come out with the AFO shoes, we're probably we'll have some mechanism, some guideline of which one you should choose. The best is always, you've tried it with a 4E before, try our 3E. That's probably going to be the best. You wear a 6E, okay, try that. If you're getting the AFO for the first time and have never worn a shoe with it, that's a different scenario. So in that case, we will show pictures of different types of AFOs and what may be the correct width, but it might be a trial and error thing to figure it out.
Awesome. Susan is asking if will there ever be any stores you can buy Cadense shoes in? Currently, we're mostly online. I say mostly because there's some clinics in Canada that currently carry our product, and we're going to be rolling this out more and more. But your safest bet currently is to order straight from our website. We have a 30-day trial, so if sizing's not right, you can send them back and exchange them. And in general, if they just don't work for you, you can send them back too. So there's really no risk for you. Just be sure to order from us directly from the website, and that's your best go-to. There's some interesting questions around something that are now moving into. Michaela is asking, for how long have these shoes been available? How come they're not covered by any insurance? One would think if you prevent someone from falling, why would you not cover that? That is a very good question. Do you want to take that one?
Sure. Yeah. So that's one of our, I guess, priority items that we're working on right now is trying to get the medical system to become payers for this. We realize that a lot of our users are on fixed income. A lot of our users are retired. A lot of our users are on disability. So we're trying to get a quality product out to people, to as many people as we possibly can. So we've actually added someone really important to our business. I saw her on this podcast before, and she's an amazing person that has been able to navigate the payer network through Medicare and Medicare Advantage before. So we're going to be going down that avenue. We're going to try to knock on doors of the VA and try to get other institutional payers to be able to help out for this type of thing. We always, since we started this company, we never wanted to sacrifice quality in the product though. So we started with something that we think can deliver the quality that people need for this type of a product. And we want to keep that quality, but we want to get it covered by insurance one day. That's our overall objective. And I would hope in the next couple of years, we can say that this is Medicare covered. And it just requires a lot of clinical trials, which we're doing. Clinical trials take a long time. So our current clinical trial is 4 years. By the time it's published, it's 5. And so I think the last I heard, we need 5 of those. So we're trying.
Yeah. And I just want to also say that, these things do take time, but you can use your FSA and HSA accounts currently, which is not a very common thing for other brands. So you can use those accounts at least if you're in the US and you have an FSA and HSA account. For our folks in the UK, I think there will be some regional coverage from the NHS once we jump through all the hoops there. So we're working really hard and fast on making our product more accessible to all of you. So we understand price is always a concern, but I also do want to say our products can't be cheaper because we emphasize high quality. We want to make sure that they have efficacy, and that requires research. So that's where that's currently at. Cool. Let me quickly go through the list here. Oh, here's another question for you. Any way to make the pucks slide better after wearing them outdoors on concrete?
Slide better after wearing them out on concrete. So in our testing, we haven't seen that they really change too much with frictional properties after being on concrete. We tested this. So one of our characterization studies was to scuff the shoe up to a simulated 3 months worth of wear. We did that on two machines, the scuffing machine that I'm talking about, and there's another machine that we were using at an off-campus shoe lab called a time machine, which loaded the shoe with 3 months worth of walking, and then we would test again, and then we did it to 6 months, then we did it to a year, and we tested again, and we didn't find a significant difference in the actual friction. The shoes will get scuffed up if you take them outdoors, but in our experience, it hasn't changed the coefficient of friction on any of the surfaces. So
So
some people, I don't know, I can't anticipate every case, but in our experimentation, we haven't found any problem there.
awesome. So question on these. These will be launching in the middle of October, and they're going to be available in both colors in all geographies that we serve. So you're going to be able to order them in Canada, United States, and in the United Kingdom. That was a question that I just saw. Last question. I can't walk unassisted, so I use a walker, crutches, AFO, etc. Will they work?
Yeah, so a lot of our users use walkers. A lot of our users are in AFOs. As long as currently you can get your AFO into a regular or a wide width shoe, then they may work for you. The only concern that you have to think about is, can you apply, at least depending on your size, at least say 20 pounds into each shoe? If you can apply at least 20 pounds into the shoe while you're supporting yourself with a walker, these actually are really nice. Some of the people, one of our original beta testers and a continual friend of our company, he had a walker, walking speed had a massive improvement with these shoes with the walker.
Awesome. Well, I think we got through all of the questions. I want to thank everyone here on the recording, but also sending in their questions up front. We really appreciate you. It's so wonderful to have 30,000 happy customers out there, and a much larger community. I think we're close to 100,000 community members now who have taken interest in our company. We are really just humbled by your support, and thank you all for being part of our community. We'll be sending out this recording link. I think it's scheduled for Sunday, so bear with us there. If you have any other questions at all, our wonderful support team is there for you. You can reach them at support@cadence.com. You can DM us on our social channels. You can call us at 805-225-7765. We're here for you whenever you need us. So thank you from my end. Tyler, you want to add something to that?
That's it. Thanks for coming.
Awesome. Thank you all. We'll see you on the next one.